Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired chef from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest bread video. In this one I'll be showing you how I make my sourdough ciabatta bread. As with most sourdough recipes, it does take a little more time and patience than using commercial yeasts, but as you'll see, the end result is well worth the time invested in making this beautiful bread. You can view the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on my website. I'll leave links at the end and under the video, or just click on the eye icon top right of the screen. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a quick shout out to this week's Patreon and PayPal donators, and they are Zekamido, William Maddy, Jackie Morrison, Elizabeth Davis, Arthur Laub, Wendy Schaffer, George Scandalos and Peter Barrett. And once again, please consider supporting my Patreon appeal for as little as $2 per month, or if you prefer, you can make a one-off small donation using my PayPal page. It really does go a long way towards ingredients and production costs, as every penny pledged goes back into my videos. And whether you've donated or not, thanks again for your wonderful support in watching the channel. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get on with today's recipe. And you need to start the ciabatta recipe by making up what's known as the polish. It's also called a starter, a sponge or a beaker. Right, in a bowl I'm adding 200 grams, that's 7 ounces of room temperature filtered or bottled water. Temperature should be around 22 degrees Celsius, that's 72 Fahrenheit. And to the water you'll need to add 200 grams of your sourdough starter. If you don't have a sourdough starter, you can make your own by following the sourdough starter video on my channel. Or you can simply order a dried sourdough starter pack from my website. In the pack is all you need to get your sourdough up and running, and once established you'll have a sourdough yeast for the rest of your life if you take care of it. It comes with all the instructions and images, and there is even a video to help you along. So if you want, you can order your dried sourdough pack today. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video, or simply click on the eye icon top right of your screen to go directly to the website shop. And the pack costs £4 plus standard postage, and I will post just about anywhere in the world. All profits that's made from any item sold in the website shop goes right back into the videos. It's simply another way you can support the channel. And in goes 200 grams, that's 7 ounces of my sourdough starter. Now mix that with the water before adding the 200 grams of bread flour. Make sure these quantities are correct, as this polish is part of the main recipe. Now give that a good mix, clean down the sides of the bowl, cover it and let it sit at room temperature for several hours until it becomes very active and bubbly. I normally make mine the night before. It could take anywhere from 4 to 12 hours. Just remember, the longer your polish sits, the tastier your bread will be. But don't let it go any longer than 12 hours at room temperature. Okay, my polish has been sitting for 6 hours at room temperature, and as you can see, it's quite active and bubbly and ready to go. To make life easier, you really do need a stand mixer for these. But if you haven't got one, I explain an alternative way in my other ciabatta loaf video, if you want to have a look at that. Now add the rest of the water from the recipe to the polish to loosen it up, and pour it into the mixer bowl. Once it's in the mixer bowl, add the flour, then the salt. Don't forget, the ingredients list and full written method is on the recipe page on the website. There'll be links under the video, or just click on the eye icon top right of your screen. Right, using the paddle attachment, not the dough hook, start the mixer on the slowest speed for 1 minute. And now mix on the second speed for a further minute. And finally on the third speed until the dough starts to release from the sides of the bowl. I'll set the stopwatch on the timer so you can see how long this final speed takes. And as you can see, the dough is releasing from the sides of the bowl. So I'll stop the machine and that took just under 2 minutes on the final speed. So in total the mixing time is around 4 minutes. Now switch off the machine at the plug and with wet hands get the dough off the paddle. Most of it should just fall off itself anyway. Now lightly oil a separate bowl and scrape the dough from the mixer bowl into the oiled bowl. Right, what needs to be done now is allow the dough to rise. With sourdough that could take 3 to 4 hours, but the dough needs to be turned after each hour. So I'll cover the bowl with my trusty shower cap and set the timer for 1 hour. As I explained in my baguette video, these rest and rise periods are vital to get the best taste and texture in these high hydration breads. Right, that's the first hour. Now make sure your hands are wet and give the dough 5 or 6 turns as shown. Make sure your hands are very wet or this dough will stick to dry hands. Now cover the bowl again and set the timer for another hour. And after that hour, the dough has risen quite a bit more this time. Do the same again with your wet hands. Then cover the bowl, only this time set your timer for 1.5 hours. This should be the last one. Okay, while waiting for the dough to rise, I'll get a couple of things ready. Starting with the baker's couche. All this is a well-floured piece of material to proof the ciabatta bread on. I use 100% cotton pillowcase for mine. It's a lot cheaper than the proper baker's couche material and it does exactly the same job. Next job is to flour the work area. Try to arrange this so it's next to the couche cloth. It's just so you don't have far to transfer the dough to. Once the time's up, you need to get it out of the bowl without touching it, and the best way to do that is to use gravity. Simply tip the bowl upside down over the floured surface and allow it to flow out itself. Just be patient, it will come out on its own. And there it goes, dead easy. Now this is a high hydration dough, 80% in fact, so it's a very wet dough. So to shape it you'll need plenty of flour on. Don't be afraid to use it, as any added flour at this point is only external and can be simply brushed off after the rolls are baked. Right, so far so good. Now form it into a square. The best tool for this is a dough scraper. Once you have a reasonable square, cut it down the middle so you end up with 2 rectangles. Now using 2 scrapers, slide them in from both ends as shown and transfer it to the couche. And I've got these scrapers in the website shop if you're interested. Right, I'll fold the material up to support the dough, and I'll do the same with the other one. And you can use something like a rolling pin to keep everything in place. Now cover them up with a lightweight dry cloth and set your timer for 20 minutes. When there's only 10 minutes left on the rise, preheat your oven to 230 degrees Celsius, that's 450 Fahrenheit or gas mark 8. I'm setting mine to 210 as my oven's fan assisted, and it runs about 20 degrees hotter than indicated on the dial. Traditionally, ciabattas are baked on a baking stone, but not everyone has one of those. So to simulate a stone, I'll be baking mine on a couple of upturned baking trays, as that makes it easier to slide the loaves on and off. It works great. Just after you turn on the oven, place a pan of hot water on the bottom shelf of the oven. What this does is create a steamy atmosphere inside the oven, which actually makes the bread crispy. And you'll also need a spray bottle with some water. And to transfer the rolls onto the hot trays, I'll be using my homemade peel board lined with parchment paper. But you can buy these fairly cheaply online. And you can, however, use a heat-proof cutting board lined with parchment paper, like I did in my ciabatta loaf video. Here's a short clip from that video to show what I mean. Sorry about the steam. Right, time's up and everything is ready. You won't see a vast difference in the size of these ciabattas on the couche, but they will spring quite a bit in the oven. Now gently but confidently pick one up as shown. Now quickly but gently move it over to the lined peel and straighten it out. Dry hands this time because there's plenty of flour on to prevent sticking. Carefully open the oven door so you don't get a blast of steam and slide the loaf onto the tray. Close the door while you get the next one ready. Once they're both in, give the inside of the oven a quick spray with water. Close the door and set your timer for 20 minutes. For even cooking, I'll be turning mine back to front and top to bottom about halfway through. And I hope you've noticed how much they've sprung since I've put them in the oven. And there you go, after 20 minutes you've got two wonderful sourdough ciabatta loaves. I'll get them onto a wire rack and let them cool for 30 minutes before showing you what they're like on the inside. And just listen to how crispy they are. When doing these videos, I often have a backup in case things go wrong. So out of this spare sourdough, I made a half a dozen ciabatta rolls too. Okay, they've cooled enough now, so I'll let you see what they're like on the inside. And as you can see, they have that classic large crumb or bubbles and a sort of chewy texture, and they smell fantastic. I'll just have a dip in this good quality olive oil and have a taste. And honestly, as with any sourdough bread, the taste and texture is fantastic. If you've never tried sourdough before, I can only say you're in for a treat. The flavour is much richer and deeper than any commercial yeast bread. And this wonderful sourdough Italian slipper bread certainly gets a big thumbs up. And all I need now is a great big bowl of my homemade pasta sauce. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in your kitchen and bye for now.